I was going to play that one first, and I didn't. It's just because my machine has been on so many different selections lately. Good morning, I'm Roo. I think I am anyway. Michael here. The grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on Tuesday morning. I'm just waking up out of a cloud. I've been up for a long time, but had one of those days yesterday when I left this desk. I ran off to the lumber yard and never stopped moving all day. Just stayed on my feet until, I don't know, it was way past dinner time when I came in, and Carol and I finally got some things going and got one of those projects today. So I love working physically, but whoa, that was physical. Did a little forging, did some lumber yard work, working on a project for some folks. And it's art driven, and Carol has done the custom branding iron that I'm making. And it wasn't one that, cowboys were simple folk, Cowboys were so simple that you could just do a little bent piece of aluminum like a smiley, like, let's call it a rocking chair. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's put a W on it. We'll call it the rocking W. You go like, whoa, brilliant. Well, she's got filigree and little pieces coming around and tiny little arts and crafts letters from that era, and I'm going like, I don't even make a 5 like this, and I got to make it this big, and it's got to be cut detail in the brand. And so I've had to forge out all the little pieces, and yeah. Am I complaining? No, I love it. It's art, but man, it's sometimes art can be difficult. When it is, you just bow up and you get in there with it. And so I went through a few cups of tea yesterday, but what a great day it was. Let me say hello. Here's a look at the desk this morning. Not much laying there, just the little blue book itself. More weird words, wonderful words. I don't even know if I'm going to paint out of it. That's the one I did yesterday. Just Wander and Wonder. Such a great little idea, isn't it? Just to wander around. I did spend an hour wandering around inside a place called Carolina Urban Lumber. And Carolina Urban Lumber is think about if when a power company has to take down a big tree, or when the storm takes out a big tree in a yard and it leaves a massive timber there. That I'm talking timber. You can't even see how big I'm holding my arms up. They're this big, and I'm not a small person. And lots of times folks go, well, we're gonna have to pay a lot to go get that. This company will say, no, we'll come and get that for it. Just give it to us. And they're going, like, get it out of here. They take it and they mill it, and then they kiln dry it, and then they sell these big slabs with live edges to make tables out of. And it's just a cool reclaimed art form. And so I go there and get these hardwood boards, and they're just fabulous. Yesterday I've got some 10-inch wide maple boards that are just pristine, 1 inch thick, just beautiful. Grain in them is beautiful. Just going to put some natural oil on them and brand them. And charcuterie boards, yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, let me say hello to some of you here. Thanks for being on the show today. Great Scott, Irma Burton, thanks for joining in. Irma, the giver herself. If you haven't gotten a card from Irma, she just hadn't found your address yet. She sends stuff out all the time. Thank you. Barbara Mayer, it's Ruse Day, she says. Yes, Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson, thanks for being on the show. Denise Albright, it is Ruse Day. Karen Binder, it's another Ruse Day. John Robert Small, Brush Warriors to the rescue. There we go. Sandy Rowe, thanks for being on the show. Annette Henslin, hi chick, she says. Peace. Melena Phillips, thank you for being here. Bob Hendrick, Morning from the hard-to-leave Minnesota today, cornfields of Iowa. That makes absolutely sense to me. So apparently you've been up there visiting, and I hope it's been a fun time, and now it's hard to leave. From the hard-to-leave Minnesota today, cornfields of Iowa. I don't know what took you there, but it must be something. But I think if you waited around about another 2 or 3 weeks, it wouldn't be hard to leave Minnesota. Of course, you're going out to Iowa, which the storm will blow you away anyway. So, man, think about the Southeast. Yesterday was that pristine day. Carol made some tomato basil soup, and I didn't have room on the top of the container to just write tomato basil. So I was walking down the driveway to take this to Dan. Canister. I just wrote Tom Bass on there, and I said, hey, you don't know any old fishing buddies named Tom Bass, do you? And he said, no. I said, good. All right, so just, because I didn't want you to think this was his ashes or something. So anyway, took him some tomato basil, but it was just a great day to be outside yesterday. Man, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beverly Schmidt, good morning from Greenville, South Carolina. Karen Denver, hello. Glad you're on the show. Virginia Man, it is chilly. Yeah, Jean in Alabama, she says. Or Chili Al. Jackie Wallace, thanks for being on the show. Deborah Spangler. Burke Crone, there he is. Another day in Greenville for you too, my friend. Patricia Lane Evans, thanks for being holding the fort down up in New Hampshire, I believe. Pat Brooks, always fun to have you. November from South Florida. Yeah, it's got to be. It's probably going to get down to 70 there today, 75, maybe 80. All right. Deborah Lynn Tauber, thanks for being on the show. Trish Brown, it's a beautiful day in eastern North Carolina. Yeah, I like eastern North Carolina, but not that far east. I like actually western North Carolina because I love staying close to those Smoky Mountains. They pull me every now and then. And Westra, thank you for being around. Morning to the best group around. Well, thank you so much. Fern Skelly. Hey, Michael, she says. Hey, Fern. Glad you're on the show. Tiffany Lyons, June Jones, Catherine Brousseau, Linda Lawless, Mickey DeYoung from Oklahoma. You guys are up early. All you people out on the West Coast, more power to you. It's just amazing that you get up and do this. If I had to get up that early to do the show, y'all would be watching test patterns. Remember those old test patterns on TVs? Alice Durham, Karen Miller, Heather Kuhlman, Nancy Catlett. In West Virginia, it's rainy, chilly morning in West Virginia. Make a pot of chili. Just get with it. Actually, I don't even eat chili. That's one of the things that's not on my list. Pumpkins and chili. Eileen Walker, thanks for being here from cold and wet Pennsylvania. It is a good day to paint. Okay. Good morning to everyone. B. Ariola, thanks for being on the show. And Julie Hendrick, are you with Bob in hard to leave Minnesota? I'm not sure. Kelly Berger, morning from Houston. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right. Judy Y'all, thanks. It is cold in Ohio. Ohio, of course, if I were in a marching band, I could do an O and an I. That's the only things I could do. I could do an O. I had to do an O yesterday, and she wanted it in egg shape. Yeah, she said, could you do this kind of in an egg shape, because that's arts and crafts font. Some of you who know arts and crafts and the font, you'll love that time period of art. Debbie Bennett, thank you for being on the show. Pat Thompson, Dolores Boland, Linda Schleichning, good grief, 59 last night. Wow, John Robert Smalls is 59 last night. It's going to be good. It'll clean out all those coffee bean webs, and it helps. When it gets below 50, when it gets below the 50s, it's good. It kills a lot of parasites. I'm not talking about the Eiffel Tower. That's a parasite, but not the one I'm talking about. Deborah Kromka. Good morning from New Jersey. Debbie, I don't recognize Kromka. You might have been on the show several times, but sometimes I catch names. So welcome aboard, Roodoodles. Lisa, thank you for being on the show this morning. Pretty awesome. Terry Tardy from the rainy Oregon coast, Coos Bay, I believe. Susan Cridenton, thank you for being on the show. All right. Hey, Chris Young, see you there. Laura Abbott, Sharon Clark, good grief. Jennifer Parker. Oh, you guys jumping on. I love it, love it, love it. All right. Let me get busy. Linda Linhart, thank you. Pat Lightbody, Sandra Connor, a lot of folks on the show this morning, and I got to decide what I'm going to do. I'm working on some projects. I don't know what I'm going to do the first of the year as far as Roodoodles, and just the technology involved. I may cut it back to 2 shows a week just simply because of the couple equipment issues. It's a long story. I'll keep you posted. It won't be until after the first of the year, but I'm going to decide where I'm going to go from there. I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. I love what you guys bring to it, and I love that there's a whole group of a community out there that's being creative and sharing it around the world, and I do mean around the world. Sue Kane is still sending art all over creation, and so is Sabine and some of the people, and in Ireland I see all kinds of things pop up. So we'll keep you posted on that as I go forward. I'm late. Got caught in the barnyard traffic. Terry Tardy says, I missed the paper making tour, but caught it on replay. It was interesting, and I'm trying to stay in touch with John. He sent me a note and said, hey, I'm going through a couple things right now. I need to get it back to my Missouri studio. And when summer clears out and fall festivals and touring art, he's a touring artist. I mean, think about what you do as art. He gets up every day and says, this is what I do for a living. I don't do that. I do that about half the time. I think like an artist all the time, but I'm working on projects that go in different places, restaurants and gifts for this and that and the other. And even this thing coming up yesterday. Thank you for your kind comments to Nicole. She is such a sweet lady. And this organization, this Congregations for Kids that puts people with foster children is just remarkable. And remember I said she's the liaison between DSS sometimes. And by the way, the social worker people, it's a calling, man. It's a tough job. And they get, it's tough. And they got to deal with it's a balancing act on a high wire. And you're juggling all those. You can put all the plates and batons and all the things that jugglers juggle. Hey, I want to just grab a piece of paper this morning, and a simple piece, a little inexpensive piece of paper that I paint on from time to time. I carry my Kilimanjaro book in my bag. In fact, it's right in there now. I did just get a call. I got an email again. The bug out bags are done, and they're at the printer ready for me to pick up. So he's either going to curry them down, I'll pick them up. And so I think there's more than 2 or 3 dozen of those that they've filtered in and printed for me. So if you're still looking for a bug out bag, you can go ahead and order it now, and I'll have it and it'll be in the mail by, if not the end of this week, the first of next week. So there you go. That's that. But I carry that in my bag with all my paint supplies and a few pens and stuff. And I carry these little Canson watercolor pads. It's 140 pound. The difference between this and and I like it because it is bright white. It's ultra white. The difference between this and a fluid paper or a Kilimanjaro paper, you can run your fingers over it and feel it right now. It's let's see, if you're a woodworker, I'd say this is 220 grit. This is 180, if that makes any sense to you. If you're a sander. And I learned a lot about sanding this week when I was going through the Craftsman show, and I might as well just tell you right now. You know, sometimes when you have a wooden spoon and you may be running your wooden spoons through the dishwasher, I don't really recommend it. I've got this hankering to make some spoons. I think I'm going to do some carved spoons. I've wanted to do it for years. I made a wooden bowl years ago. One of the things I wanted to learn to do, June Jones asked this one time, and I think she said, hey, what do you want to learn next time you're about? Tom is on the show, checking in late from the cooling but almost always awesome coast of Maine. Tom, thank you much, buddy. I talk about you all the time. I still have your rooster set there on its cardstock. We hadn't found the frame that we want for him yet. He's going to go at the bar. Your brilliant rooster that I bought on the show, and it's so fun meeting with you. I was looking at those pictures the other day. Appreciate you much. And I'm still loving painting lobsters. They are fun to paint. In fact, I've got so many painted now that I'm going to have to unload a few. And so I might have to have a lobster roast So I think I'll throw them in the auction coming up soon. I'm going to do an auction within the next couple of weeks, I think. Just a Roodoodles auction, and just some money for the show here to pick up some equipment. And I've also had some help on that, and so it's been really fun. But I'll keep moving on that. I was talking about something. I was talking about woodworking, and you think, hey, this poor guy is fast brain. This guy was telling me that he burnishes, he burnishes his wooden spoon. So to burnish is to take a metal tool, maybe something that's a round, polished end, and rub it. It's almost hand rubbing woodwork, like in European style. He burnishes it, and what it does, I was telling my friend yesterday, it closes the grain down on the wood. If you sand wood, it smooths it, but you still just have all those, like, think about your grass in the yard, all those little wood follicles up. And so sometimes your wooden spoons look fuzzy. That's because they've been sanded. But a wooden spoon that's been hand carved and burnished, look up the word burnish. It's smooth. It stays smooth. And so sometimes I know people, you'll take a spoon. I was helping a friend in their kitchen one night, and she said, "Oh, my spoons are in the dishwasher." And I went, and I took it out, and it felt like a stuffed animal. It kind of had like this little raised furry surface on it. And I thought, I don't want this. I want a good hard wood. I like my spoons made out of olive wood too. That's really nice. But I like ash or sycamore, or maybe a piece of walnut that's been burnished smooth. So I think I'm going to make a spoon mule, M-U-L-E, stay behind the mule. Stay behind the mule. I think I'm going to make a spoon mule, and I'm going to make a clogging knife. I'm going to forge a clogging knife, and I'm going to start making some wooden spoons. Not to sell. I don't need another. I want some new spoons in our kitchen, so I think I'm going to make my own spoons. So I'm into it. Bob's ready for the auction. I've seen. There you go, Elaine. Now you know why they're fuzzy spoons, right? So that's it. Bob bid $33. All right, so here we go. So this paper feels like it's been burnished a little bit. About 180 grit if you're a woodworker. About 220, about 180, and then Kilimanjaro feels like about 150. Got a little bit of those. That's what's called cold pressed paper. So this is Canson paper. And I'm going to grab a pen that I haven't used in a few weeks. There it is right there. It's my Kakuno pen. You see me using preppy pens and all these fountain pens that I use. And that's why I thought of Tom yesterday. I pulled out this box of carbon ink. And I thought, Tom's always saying I use carbon ink. And I thought, I got some over there. I just need a new pen to put it in. And the preppies are perfect for that. These carbon inks have a little ball bearing in the end. And I really do like it. I like my pens to bleed, and if you let carbon set too long, it'll lock in. It'll become almost an archival pen. It's kind of nice, but it works both ways. This is a Kakuno pen here, and this is the Pilot pen, and it's made by Pilot, and it also has a fine point, not an ultra fine, but a fine point. And I'm cleaning the fine point off just a little bit. There you go. They do make this pen in an ultra fine. Here it is right here. This is it. It's in a different case. There it is right there. I use the same ink cartridge in these pens. So I just wanted to do a little simple painting with this pen, with this Kakuno, and just let you watch the ink and take my time. Sometimes when you see me sketch a rooster, I'm doing this. I'm going like, okay, let's get this in here. And I forget that everybody doesn't sketch like I do, or they're not in a hurry. And so here we go. So Denise says, you know what? That's interesting about wooden spoons. Fuzzy. I hate it when spoons get like that. Me too. That means that somebody sanded it. Ta-da! You learn something new on this show every day, and you didn't think it was going to be about a wooden spoon. So what you can do is take that. I'm back on this thing, aren't I? Yeah. Take that wooden spoon and don't sand it again. Find yourself another tool, maybe the edge of the back edge of some scissors. Okay. These are cool little scissors here. These are plant scissors. I like them. I think I got these from the gardener's cottage. And but take the handle of those scissors and just a smooth little piece, maybe the edge of a wrench, you know, something that's got smooth stainless steel, maybe this spoon maker had a tool that he had made that had like a ball bearing on the end that was a burnishing tool. So look at the word burnishing. You'll see what I'm talking about. And just start rubbing it like this. I used to do that with the back of my pocket knife blade right here. That's a great little thing for doing that. So instead of sanding the woodwork, you just burnish it. The Native Americans, sometimes when they made bows, especially out of yew or the other wood they made a bow out of, they didn't have sandpaper, so they would use a smooth rock and they would burnish it. So what you do is this, one more time, listen to this. Instead of just causing all those edges to stay up like this, you tend to fold those edges down. It's almost like forging metal, and you cause them to knit together, and it even creates the better surface. If you're having food surfaces on it, you don't want to stick your fuzzy spoon down in a chili bowl and it comes up all over the handle, and you go, why is the spoon stained? Your wooden spoons shouldn't do that. So burnish them. There you go. Now you know, man. And you thought you weren't going to learn anything today. I'm going to put on this piece of music here. And I need just kind of a soft, kind piece today. And I'm going to paint. I'm going to sketch slowly and just paint this roux. Haven't done a fun roux in a long time that's just on its way somewhere. Got my cup of tea here, and I think he's just going to be walking off that way. Actually paying attention to where I'm putting the loose and wobbly still. Just some marks coming down through there to create his feet. You know, nothing spectacular, doesn't have to be. Maybe just go ahead and set this leg out here like this. Draw a little slanted earth, like to ground my roosters so they're not with both feet firmly planted in midair, like most news commentators today. I got in a political thing there without offending anybody, didn't I? Okay, so here we go. I haven't watched the news in a while. I don't know what's going on in the world. There we go. Look at that little rooster. He's pretty cool. And I'm going to build up a little hackle feathers coming down here just on his neckline. Just let this run over. Run out of the lines here. Now, the fun thing about this ink is this ink will leave its space pretty rapidly. Let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? So, it took me, 40 seconds to sketch this roux instead of the normal 15. Sometimes being loose, I remember I work small and fast, and that helps keep me loose. And several of you sent me notes yesterday, and I appreciate that, about I'm going to try painting standing up. I'm going to try backing off on my grip, not getting in here. I call it turtling. Don't turtle over your art, but getting in here and lightening up a little bit. All right. So let's go ahead and take some clean water. Here's a mason jar full of clean water. There's a paper towel. It's a Bounty, if you wanted to know. And I'm just going to drop a little bit of... I could do this with a Yasutoma brush. Today I'm working with a number 3, kind of a long bristle brush. It's called a Rigger, R-I-G-G-E-R. Great lettering brush, but you ever see me write? You don't want me to letter, I'll tell you that. You don't need that right now from me. Okay, so, all right. So I had to slow the music down, and that helped me get into just the rhythm of painting the way I wanted to paint. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a little bit of water inside the rooster. Just like so. That's kind of cool. Now I'm going to go over here and let me move this over. Let me bring over my palette just so you can see it. I'll shift those around, move it here. This is why I like stuff not nailed down over my desk. I just like to turn however I want to turn. It makes me once again, I never met an artist who said I'd like to just tighten everything up. I'm just way too loose. No, I met artists all the time who say, I'm just so tight. I finish painting and I go, I feel like I need a massage. I'm going like, whoa, maybe you're doing this wrong, you know? Yesterday, I'm moving things around. I'm twisting metal and putting my hand in the forge. I don't have any hair on the back of my hands today. And whoops, I almost stuck my brush down in my T. So I'm going to have to move that over here too. All right. So I'll just go in. I'm letting this water just kind of just lay there on the paper. But I'm going to go in here, grab a little bit of this. I'm painting with some fairly dry paint. I didn't even spray them this morning. But my brush is really wet. Controlling the water of watercolor may be the hardest thing you ever do to learn this craft. But stop worrying about it and just have fun with it. And I'm going to quote you what my daughter said to Chip the other day when we were in line at the lobster truck. She said, Chip, waste some paper. And he goes, yeah, you know, I'm so careful. And so we both said, stop being so careful. And so I'm saying that to you. She says, when you go buy a pad of this paper, buy 2 and know that you're going to throw one whole piece of it away. Maybe you may discover something in there that you really love, but you may also just chuck it, and that's okay. So feel okay about throwing paper away, for heaven's sakes. It's one piece of paper, and it's your education. You know? I sawed a board off a little too short yesterday. Because I'm on the phone and I'm talking and I'm doing other stuff and I'm going like, you know, I'm not doing too well here. I can't do too many things at once. That whole multitasking thing is like, nah, that ain't happening. I have not watched Anne of Trades. Anne of all trades. No, I like it though. It's a great name, Jack of all trades. I used to carve songbirds and duck decoys. Everyone I took the class with has passed. It's great memories, though. Oh, I see. They've passed. Oh, my gosh, Sandra Connor. Well, I love your legacy. Love that. Fantastic. Love olive wood. Yes, me too. A friend of mine gave me a huge sheet of Yupo paper yesterday. Now I have to figure out what to do with it. Well, first of all, you're going to have to get some alcohol ink, because watercolor on Yupo paper doesn't go very far. It just kind of lays there and looks at you like, well, now what are we going to do? And it'll roll around. And so alcohol bleeds into Yupo paper. It's fun stuff to paint with, but it'll eventually dry, but it's kind of fun. Rudy, I should do a class. Yeah, well, I'm going to build a spoon mule. We'll see how that goes first. I may be so tired of building all the shaving horses and the spoon tools. I've got draw knives and I've got some old archaic tools that I want to resharpen. I'm going to make my own clogging knife. If you want to see something fun, look up clogging knife. And I'm talking about the men who made wooden clogs. Okay, we would call it a stock knife or a shop knife, or a stock knife is really what I knew it as growing up, and I only saw 1 or 2. I didn't see many blacksmiths work, unfortunately. When I was a kid, everybody was, running from them. And but anyway, see what I'm doing? I'm taking my time here, just painting this roo, and I'm going to get a bigger brush. This is messing around with this little brush. I'm going to get this number 8 to 7, and go in here and get some of this titanium buff and just put it right in there like that. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of this black and put it over that. I just want some gray down here. I don't do a lot of just farmyard animals. I usually do these bright, colorful, whimsical things, but I'm just going a little more farmyard today, just for fun. And just making a rooster that looks like he's out for a stroll. He's out ambulating, wandering, and he hasn't had time to shave and shower. Gotta go to the creek. So it's fun paper. You need to wipe it off with alcohol before you start to get rid of the fingerprints and oil. See, there's people telling you already. Yes, Genoa says burnishing, no sanding, just like in leather work. That's exactly right. When you think about working leather and the edge of a belt, you'll take a tool, a rounding tool, and you burnish the edge, and it folds over those fibers. It's a great example. Can you do Roodoodle live shows? Yeah, one of these days I'll do that. One of these days I'll just get a piece of wood. I'll get a piece of wood and I'll whittle live on the show, because that might be something fun that y'all can do. And it's not complicated. Look, wow, how do I say this? Some of you are brilliant artists and you've just forgotten what it was like to go to the art board with a little bit of a discipline. And that's what this show's been about. It's been about your community, my community. It's been about us painting together. It's been about inspiring one another to keep on staying behind the mule. It's also been about discovering new things, not earth-shattering things. It's also been calling back to some old things that you learned or just forgot years ago and said, why did I stop doing that? And that's why sometimes I'll take a detour and I'll paint shrimp for a while. I'll paint songbirds for a while. I got on the lobster kick because we were going to Maine, and I thought it was the irony and also just the great justice of life that we were going to Maine, and Tom one day posted a lobster on the show. He was on Roost Crew, and I went, dang, that's so good. Who is that guy? And I looked him up and realized he was a lobster guy. It's Lobster Art. That's his company. I mean, it's his art company.com. Look him up. And so I thought, wow, wouldn't it be fun to meet with somebody like that? Because every time that we've done an art that we really wanted to deep into a little bit, it's just like us going to the crafts fair at Silver Dollar City, or excuse me, it was an old place, Dollywood, and seeing John, the paper maker. And we said, we knew where he was. We wanted to wander around, find him. We knew where we thought he was. And you know, John has been coming to that show for 23 years. He's been coming there and bringing all his wares and setting up and printing paper. You realize how much paper you have to print and how much paper you have to throw away when you mess up? And I had him mess up right on the show. I gave him a piece of paper to print on. It didn't work. Well, it worked pretty well. He kept it. And but he needed my help on something that had to do with technology. Hey, how do you do what you do online? And I said, well, if I could tell you that, it's easier than printing paper. And so we just sat down and talked a little bit. And I said, man, if I can help you, I will. You know what? Withhold nothing. If you can help an artist out, help an artist out. And so that's how we got into that. See how there's still some holidays in this rooster? You see how that these colors, when I take my time, this is kind of what I want the bodies of my rooster to look like. And you're saying, well, there's a little spot that's not connected, and there's a little piece that's flopped out. And then I'm going to come back in with my pen, this Kakuno pen right here. And I'm going to just create some little loose feathers like here. I want this rooster to be a little more ramshackle. But so what I was going to say is, if one person has done it, another person can do it. And so sometimes it's not so complicated. It's just saying like, oh, is that how you did that? And so that's why we go see artisans. And we tell them, hey, we're trying to learn this. That's why there's schools like Penland. And that's why which is not an inexpensive school, by the way. Good grief. If you get the money to go to Penland, you could just buy some nice art, I'll tell you that. But the craftsmen that they bring there to teach are pretty amazing craftsmen. And so that's always kind of fun to see what they do. And I've never been to Penland. It's one of the places that's on our list. So I think I want to go one day and just do that. I got quiet in here. I let the music run out. And I was painting this to some relaxing music because I just wanted it to be that way. Okay, so that pen is done with writing on that. I'm going to go to a Pentel. This is an 05 Pentel. I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to just do a little bit of detail, some of the veining that I do in the feet, and then come back in. And I don't even paint these toenails. I just do them at pen. And I'll just do some grass sprigs. And then, of course, I've got to put a little bit of I like this Roo, by the way. He's pretty cool. And this paper works great for my style. I love 140-pound, really rough paper. the Kilimanjaro blend, but I like this paper too. This Canson is good paper. So I'm just going to go with a little bit of a blue spatter around here just to create a little bit of sky. And then I always love taking a little bit of Payne's Gray for Donna. She's probably on the show somewhere. And I just punch in a little bit of dirt. There's a word for that. It's called, oh, wow. Let me see if I can find it for you. I looked it up today. It's called geoponic. It's Geoponic. 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 It's an adjective. Oh, that's geoponic, meaning relating to farming or agriculture, and like most farming words. Now, this is a simile that I wasn't expecting. Like most farming words, Bob, listen to this. It has an extended humorous meaning. I didn't write this. This is in the book. It has an extended humorous meaning of rustic or countrified. And see, I think this is what I am. I'm geoponic. Everything that I do has a little bit of rust or dirt, or, it's why I paint mailboxes rusty. It's why I paint buckets rusty. It's when I paint a rooster playing a banjo on a wash tub. That wash tub is part of my style. It's the rusty. I looked at Ruse Crew the other day, and I went, oh my gosh, this mailbox, and I'm so sorry right now, I can't remember who painted it. It was just perfect. It was like the rust was running down the side, and I went, that's my mailbox. That's my mailbox. Not mine now, but because I live in the community. But when I lived out in the woods, it was. Wait a minute. Went to Mount Dora Art Show last weekend. Are we talking Mount Dora near Orlando or in Florida? I've been to that art show. Wow. Love it, love it, love it. Crushing the wood grain. Painting spoons for a class is a great idea. Okay, now there you go. There you go. Somebody wants to make the spoon. Somebody wants to paint them. But see, I couldn't do that. So you got me there. I couldn't paint a spoon. I need all my spoons to eat with. I bumped into a lady one day who said, hey, I paint cast iron skillets. And I'll go, I don't even want to hear this because I cook in them. And so, but anyway, Ricky, thanks for being on the show. Glad you're here. Yikes. While I can't speak for anyone, some of us, me, do work so slowly. Listen, there's nothing wrong with working slowly. I just work a little quicker, but it facilitates my style. And so, in fact, I'm probably geoponic in most things, but I'm a little impatient when it comes to digging the hole and softening the earth and running the disc in the harrow and then planting the seed and watering it and waiting on it to grow. I'm a little bit like, can we just get the thing to pop up? Can we spring load the seeds and shoot them out of the earth? So my watercolor sort of takes on that tack, but it also facilitates my style. Do you realize this is all about your style? Don't try to be somebody else's style, please. Okay? Be your own. Find your own voice. I always paint standing up. Yeah, man, you would do that. Especially acrylic painters, oil painters, you always tend to stand and it makes you looser. Having that arm free, it's what we were talking about yesterday. In fact, most of my painting for 8-10 years was standing at a desk, sitting on the edge of a stool. It was a high desk, and so my shoulders were always free. And the desk was too low for me to do this. So this is what I'm asking you not to do right here. I'm asking you that you don't do this. Lean in and turtle over your art and hold the grip on your brush like this. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like just for one more time here. Just don't be doing this. Don't be down here like this. Unless you're painting hair of the dog or those little follicles on the frog. Then you can, or a wart on a log or something that rhymes. But my point is, if you're doing that, let it roll. Go with it. But back off every now and then and let your shoulders breathe and be a little looser. All right? Chris Young, riggers are hard to control, and sometimes that's why I use them. Okay, so thank you. You just walked right into what I'm talking about. Look at this bristle on this brush right here. Let me show you a number 3. That's a 4. See if I can find a 3 here, just for fun. Just for fun. No, I can't. Yeah, maybe this is one right here. Here we go. There's a 3. Okay, look at this 3. See that 3 right there? That's a number 3. American Journey brush. Regular number 3, round. Now look at the number 3 rigger. Take a look. Okay, see the difference? There's a good 3/8 of an inch right here. Okay, and there's a little more beef right at the tail. Not much, but what they've done is they've loosened that out. Now, why would they do that? They've done that so that if you have to drag a line, look at this line you get to drag. Oh my gosh, it just keeps on coming and keeps on coming because it holds so much paint. And so riggers are great for that. And if you take a regular number 3 and try to do that, you're going to get, it's going to fall apart right there. We're done. It starts to flatten out. But this brush will stay pointed. And so Pat and people who paint, my daughter who paints, has just some unbelievable rigger brushes where she can say, now today I'm going to paint the words to this Roodoodles. I only dipped this brush once, and look at that, okay? And so you realize that's what rigger brushes are for. They hold paint in the back and they let it flow out that point. And so that's why I use it. Sometimes I use it on regular painting. Why? Simply because it forces me to be loose. And it cuts in these little fibers and it gets a little more detail even in my fast stroke. And so, yeah, sometimes brushes do count. They count all the time. But most of the time I'll just go with a number 2 or a number 3 Yasutoma brush because I just have a messy style. And it's the style that I love. Okay, so all that on one Roo this morning. And I'm probably going to put him, probably going to paint him with this word underneath him here, ambulate, Obambulate. And so all right, I'm going to put him down right now because, once again, this is remember, if we were sanding this paper, it's really sanded pretty smoothly, so it doesn't have those facets to grab the ink. This is still pretty wet. You see it moving right there? Look at that. I can still get it. So I'm just going to let that dry. If I wanted some of that to run down, I could continue to tilt it over like this. And there it just goes right into there, down. It's going to follow the water. Wow. Water first, color second. I like this paper. All right. I'm going to drop this down in the floor, and I dropped it carefully. I'm going to pick up a piece of, I think this is Fabriano paper. And another pen, and here we go right here. Just a pen like this. Just going to show you the difference of how this pen would work. This could use a little so I'm always experimenting, just always experimenting, trying to make things happen. I didn't want that eye there. I want this eye right there on the front. So I just flubbed it in. See there? Just finished it. Okay. So this is a rooster that had a little too much candy for Halloween. Now this is the Lamy pen and Lamy ink. Just cross hatching this here just a little bit, not much. create some ink in there to go. We'll change brushes to you. I'm going to go on a Yasutoma bamboo brush and just go in here and lay this down. Look, this is just the pen. This is those of you who love pen and ink and you hang out with Jason on Inkspiration. This is one of the things that he does. Lots of times he'll lay down a lot of ink and just let it kind of roll wherever he wants it to roll. And he'll come back in, just add some water. I love black and white Roodoodles like this. They're so fun to do, and they're expressive. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a touch of color in just a second here, just something outrageous. So you see how fast that happened, but I think what I want to do is I'm going to go in and get some orange. Just wake up this orange a little bit here and just dance around in there with the color. Just bring this in. Sometimes when I paint in classrooms with school kids, I say, have you ever thought about painting not with music, but with music? Not with music, but with music, okay? So, I mean, feel the music in your brush, the way you loosen up your arm, and the way you rock it a little bit. Wasn't that cool? And so you suddenly get these paintings that you wouldn't get any other way if you stuck to your normal style. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to change your style. Your style is going to be who you are. I love what Mako Fujimura says. He says, I go back and look at paintings when I was 3 years old. I go back and I look at paintings that I did when I was 3 that my mother kept. And they're stored now, and he gets them out and he goes, I still see me in that painting. And I do that too. I still see my hand. When I look at how I signed my name when I was old enough to sign my name, and I look at it now, I go, I really just, this is it. This is the movement. And so within that realm, that's part of my style. So for me, even though I paint faster or slower, I still recognize my style. And that's where I want you to get with your art, so that people look at it and they go, I know who did that. That's why art is so cool today. I'm working on a project with a lady that's about a Picasso 100 painting that is, they don't know if it's a real one or not. And she's asked me to come and help put a story together of her. She's been invited to paint 100 artists worldwide, and she's been asked to paint this piece. And not a plagiarized piece, but her own piece, but a piece that tells about this art and or the story of it. And it's Picasso painted a painting in, goodness, I don't know, the 20s. I'm not even sure when he painted it. It may have been later than that, but it's called The Christ, and it sold for a very low amount at one time because somebody thought it was just a forgery. Now they're not sure. There's been a documentary about it. So the point is it really is it real or is it not? But who cares? What has it done to communicate the story? And so she's asked that I come and help shoot a video of her doing this piece of art, and so she said, I'm not trying to paint Picasso. This is not about forging art. This is about me looking at what he's doing and painting my interpretation of it in my style. And so she's selected as one of the 100 artists. Really a cool story. So I get to go and probably meet with her next week and then go and sit down and talk about the piece of art. Some fun things that I get to do in the art world. Isn't that fun? All right. So here's another little Roo, different style. Started with the pen, all black and white, and look what's happened to the lines on this paper. Do you see them? No, you see them where I want you to see them. But even in this cross-hatching here, notice how I got to them early enough to take them out. You know what I'm saying about that? See, if I've got marks in a drawing like this, and I let that dry for 20 minutes, this pen for sure, and I come back in, I'm just going to look like I colored these lines. But if I go in there with some water now and take this, look what happens. Man, don't you just love that? How can you not love what happens with these pens when it does stuff like that? And I'm just painting right here on my blotter. And that tail makes me think that this Roo is heading out across the barnyard. Waste some paper today. Just had a little bit of that royal amethyst on my brush. Go back and pick up a little bit of red there, just a tad bit in there. Pick up a little bit of that orange yellow here. Just throw it in on some of these How fun is that, huh? And you know what? See that little stripe right in there in the middle? I'm not changing that. I'm leaving that. That's a painting that I should do sometime. Probably have done that in the thousands of roosters that I painted, but I think you get the idea. Here, watch this. Where's my burnishing tool? Fooled you, didn't I? Fooled me too. I didn't know I was going to do that. So, if I don't do anything else in my world as Roo, for heaven's sakes, let me encourage you to play. Okay? Would you do that? Would you just play with art some days? This is just the thinnest paper you could find. And I just painted that rooster that I really liked, and before it dried, I blotted it on here, which I kind of like that, but okay, that's a wasted piece of paper. So it's gone. So it's going to my trash can over there, and I missed the trash can, so I'll have to go over and pick that up later. I hate it when that happens. All right, so any questions? Let me get to a few questions, and then I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. I can sell a few so I can afford a chair. John Robert Small, that's so funny. I know the feeling, buddy. Hey, listen, every time I come in here and turn on a camera and I have a problem with one, it won't focus, and I go get another camera, I'm thinking, am I going to have to buy another camera? So I get it. Art is an expensive hobby, but it's a blessing. It's maybe a cheaper hobby than no, it's not. I started to say blacksmithing, but maybe not. It's cheaper than golf. I'll just put it that way. Okay, wow, somebody's doing, okay, so she does wooden spoons with braided handles like scrimshaw. Yeah, that's a lot of, that's some work. And I have done scrimshaw. If you've never scrimshawed, I recommend that you try it at some point in time. I learned how to scrimshaw by doing some powder horns for some rendezvous guys who were black powder guys. I built my first black powder rifle, a 45 caliber Hawken, and I sent the barrel back to have it blued, and then I wanted to build my possibles bag, and I wanted to build my powder horn, and I wanted my initial scrimshaw on the powder horn, and so I ground the horn down and then cut it in there. And scrimshawing was probably goes back to the sailors who cut mother of pearl, and who did cameos. Those are all that was a precursor to the scrimshawing, and then it got to just scratching. and then putting black ink in there and then sanding the rest of it off or smoothing it off. So I love this farmyard rooster. Yeah, clogging knife. Is it for hollowing out the clog? Yes and no. There are several versions of it. The first part is just for blocking. It's called a blocking knife or a shop knife. It's for blocking out the shape. And then they did make a handle. It's got a friction handle. It hooks underneath, and so you've got leverage. They did put a scoop tool on there, so it helps you turn and scoop. It's got a T-handle. Look up clogging knife, and you'll see that there's probably 3 or 4 different. One has interchangeable scoops, so yes, you can scoop out with it. But the majority of it is a blocking knife for just blocking the shape of the shoe. That's a good question. What is the hook for on a clogging knife? The hook, it's a great question, Tizzy. The hook, here's what the hook's for. Yep. Here we go. Let me change the pen. I'll show you, and you'll see it when you look at it on a somewhere on the bench. Here's the workbench right here. Here's the workbench. Somewhere on the bench is a hook, an eye fastened in. Sometimes there's an eye, sometimes it's a post with holes in it like this. This could be down here too. And then the clogging knife has a hook on the end of it. And so that hook goes through here like so, or down here. And then it comes up, and then there's the knife part, and then there's the blade of the knife like this. And then it comes out into a handle, and it's usually got a round T-handle on it like this. So that's a blocking knife or a clogger's knife. And so if I've got a piece of wood here that's got all kinds of rough, facets of wood in it, and I want to make a wooden spoon out of this, I can stand at the bench and I can slide this piece of wood under here. This is my fulcrum point here. So I've got the leverage to come up, slide my wood under, and go, and I stop taking off little pieces instead of using a block plane or trying to clamp it in something and use a draw knife. And draw knives are what you can use too. Draw knives are really fun. I've got some old draw knives that go back to the early days, and they look like this. And they have wooden handles that come down like this. If you have an old draw knife on your farm, you don't use it anymore, give me a holler if it's in good shape. And this would be a groove here. So this is your knife blade edge here. And so you would use a draw knife like that on a shaving horse. So a shaving horse is where you would sit there and you block your wood into here. And you sit here. There's my feet, my boots coming down, my arms coming in on the draw knife. And I'd pull back like this and use my draw knife to shape it. The clogging knife can do the same thing standing up. And so I'm going to make this knife probably out of an old leaf spring, and I'll forge it out, and this will be my blade. So this is very sharp here. So that's what the hook is for on the end. Sometimes the hook will come out and it'll circle around like this, and sometimes the hook will just kind of go in and it'll go like this. And the reason is it'll go in one of these holes. This thing could be here on the bench and have holes in it, so I can adjust the height by just pushing it through the hole. And it's so clever. Listen, our pioneer ancestors, they knew how to do things. They built a better mousetrap. Those of you who still live on farms today, you're constantly problem solving, and this was a problem solving knife. The Swedish, the Vikings, they used a hatchet. In fact, the man who's doing spoons that I watched this weekend had 2 little hand axes. And he didn't use the old broadside axes because, as good as you think they are historically, they were made out of inferior iron or steel. But he liked the Swedish axes and a little lightweight, heavy in the head, lightweight handle, short handle with a curve. And he could chop that shape in to get his spoon roughed out. He did not use one of these. The other guy that I saw was using one. And so, anyway, fun tool. There you go. Let's see. Any more questions? Rue, if more people had your attitude about withhold nothing, what a wonderful world it would be. Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure why we hold on to stuff, because we're going to die and you can't take it anywhere. It's like heaven doesn't need it. They don't need wooden spoons there, I don't think. I think when I get there, I'm going to be untangling microphone cords for the angel choir. I think that. I just threw out yesterday's painting and it felt invigorating. Pat, Bravo. You know, it's almost like going to one of those things where you go, I pat and I just throw away a painting. Good for you. Look, it's just paper. Wad it up and throw it over there and say, I'm going to start again. This little Roo that I really like this morning right here, he's gone. You know, I don't need him anymore as soon as I get this to rip off. Sometimes it goes just like this, and I just make a mess out of it. I put it out underneath, and I do that every morning, and I look at all my phone notes and everything else where I've worked here at this desk, and I'm ready to start a new day. Okay. Jennifer Parker says, I love Rust. Well, I can tell you about that. All right. Thank you so much. Sheila Nelson, you're finally awake. And good morning, Carol Marcy. Hey, frog follicles. Kelly Berger's into frog follicles. Kelly, do you know what kind of shoes frogs wear? I don't hear you. Open-toed sandals. Okay, so you can look for some frog jokes if you want. Chris Young says, interesting demo on the rigger. Thank you. Yeah, they're fun brushes. I do almost everything creative standing up. Yep, that's awesome. What's on your wish list for Christmas? Art wish list for Christmas. Wow. Well, a spoon mule. I'm going to make a spoon mule. I'm going to make my Christmas list. But basically for me, Christmas list is probably, hey, it's just to have you guys on the show. I'm going to do an auction. I need to sell some paintings and put some money into my show. My Christmas list next at the first of the year is a new computer to make this show run faster. So your style is like your signature. It's unique to you. You bet it is. Julie says she uses a rigger on its side. Yes, that's a great little brush with that flimsy little feather to do some scuffling with. I love that idea. Learning so many different things. Thank you, Mickey. Thanks for being on the show. John Robert Small, love it, man. Today I'm going to Lammy in water and waste some paper. Yeah, Pat's on a roll. Okay, I love it so much. All right, hey, don't forget about the books. Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is available at roodoodles.com, or you can get it on Amazon. Pat is the artist, and I wrote those stories about real things in my life. Hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? There's some more bug out bags coming in. I've got mugs in stock if you're looking to have a mug. One that has a rooster head. This, of course, is the right-handed mug, and now I have a left-handed mug that has the hand on this side without turning it around. Seriously, they printed them on both sides, so I appreciated them doing that. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Painting many different subjects walking off the paper. Yeah, don't you love that where things are sort of running off the paper? And I realized doing lobsters like that I didn't have to paint the whole lobster on the paper. See, I could do this. And so, and I just let people thumb through this, and everybody gets to this one and goes, that's my favorite. And I'm going like, really? Really? I mean, I painted this one, and I spent 35 minutes just really dealing with it. I did this one in 4.5 minutes. People go, that's my favorite. And we're like, okay. So I love that crawling off or coming on, or look at this one. He's gone. And so this one, then I went sideways. So I love that concept of bringing your eye into the paper. And then all these are just practiced lobsters that go different places. Yeah, I know. I just went off on a tangent and still going off on a tangent. So, and I'll put this song in your mind. Oh, white sport coat and a pink crustacean. I'm all dressed up for the dance. All right, I'm out of here. Patricia says, I just bought a full set of pens from Ector, 16 tips. Woo. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, for the Inktober. Love it. Jack Wolfbarger, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you on the show. Love it, love it. Thank you guys for jumping on. Our museums are full of scrimshaws carved by sailors. Yep, those are the people who did it so well. They said they used needles from the netting needles and fine pocket knives. And I'm going to name my wastebasket the Bunny Trail. I love it. Take the ones you don't like, make them in a card and give them to your neighbor. They'll love it. That's both good if they're good enough to give to a neighbor. Sometimes like when I throw away a piece of art, I don't want to give it to anybody. So yes, but that's a great idea. Keep drawing, painting every day. All right. So that's going to be it. Thank you for the notes and comments about having Nicole on the show yesterday. I will keep you posted on the thing on the 4th. I show up there that evening, and then several of the items from Roodoodles is going to go to the auction. And they've got some. Oh my gosh, this city turns out for this thing, and it's a pretty high price ticket event, but it's a fundraiser all the way around to help these children. And I get to paint two paintings, but I'll paint more than that. So I'm going to probably take my camera and a tripod and a light. So I think I'm painting out on this big porch, and I'll be a part of that. So I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Those of you who are part of Rue 857 on the class, I'll see you tomorrow for a class. And other than that, I am gone. Blessings again. Hey, take a sip right now and think of somebody you're going to send a note to right now. Got it. Blessings.